Hey guys, and welcome back to today's video. Today we are going to be discussing the 2024 Senate map and seeing who will take control of the Senate. Now, starting off with the safe Democrats, we can see that states like Washington and California will automatically go to the Democrats. By the way, the starting number we had up here was 28. Those are the 28 seats that the Democrats will not be contesting in the 2024 election that are not up for election, and Republicans have 38. So there's already a 10-seat lead for the Republicans. So we can see that Washington and California will automatically go to the Democrats, no doubt about it, along with New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. So now we're going to go to the more likely Democrat states. Minnesota most likely will go to the Democrats, along with Virginia and New Mexico. Hawaii will be another safe state. So now the Democrats are at 42, Republicans 38. Let's go to the safe states for the Republicans. North Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, both Nebraska and Nebraska's special election, Missouri, Tennessee, Mississippi, Indiana, and West Virginia. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why West Virginia? Joe Manchin is a senator there. Well, he's actually retiring. So West Virginia going to go to the Republicans, no doubt about it. Now we have Nevada, Arizona, Montana, Texas, Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Maine. Let's go to the more likely lean states for Republicans. Texas most likely going to go to the Republicans, along with Florida. Marco Rubio, I believe he is up for election, and he's just seen astonishing margins in his past Senate elections, and he's just done amazing. So I'm not going to question those because most likely they will go to the Republicans. Now, up in Maine here, Angus King is up for election. He is just done pretty well, and there's no doubt about it that he's done well. Most likely, he's going to win. He's seen large margins against his Republican and Democrat contenders, although he's an independent. Keep in mind, he's an independent. He caucuses with the Democrat in Congress. So, most likely he's going to win, and probably by a large margin. Now, Montana. Let's go to the 2018. Jon Tester won by roughly 4 points in a heavily red state. Now, this is surprising to me because Jon Tester is a Democrat, but I can see how he wins. He appeals to the Republicans. Already, there are a good amount of Democrats in Montana. And if we go back to 2012, he won by 4 points again. 2006, narrowly winning by less than 1 point. But this was his first year. He's made upwards to 3-point gain. That is impressive for a Democrat in a heavily Republican state. No one has actually, not a Republican has beaten him since 2006. What does that mean for Matt Rosendale? I believe Matt Rosendale is running again. And that just kind of means he's probably, Jon Tester most likely is going to win. If we can see here, he's a presumptive nominee. In 2020, Donald Trump beat Joe Biden in Montana by 56% to 40%. And Jon Tester has won 1, 2, 3 elections in Montana. Most likely, if he keeps that margin, he's going to win, but just narrowly. Headed to Arizona with Kyrsten Sinema. In 2018, she was a Democrat. What is she now? An independent. That likely could sway the election because the Democrats now are kind of in a tricky position of nominating someone else instead of Kyrsten Sinema. But she had a 2-point lead. As you saw in my last video, I talked about how Maricopa County flipped from the John McCain era to now the new Democrat era in Arizona. If we look back in 2012, we can see Maricopa County was red. Jeff Flake beat Richard Carmona by roughly 3 points. Kyrsten Sinema flipped it in 2018, along with, she's serving with Mark Kelly, who also flipped his seat. It just really depends, but I do have a feeling that whoever the Democrats nominate, it will come out that the Democrats will win. Going over to Nevada. If we look at Nevada, Jackie Rosen, her seat is up. She won. She beat Dean Heffler by 5 points. Impressive for a toss-up state. And as I talked in my last video, I talked about how the Republicans have 1 out of the 4 seats in the House of Representatives. But if we look, we see the sea of red in the precincts. That is because Jackie Rosen is getting most of her votes from Las Vegas and Reno. She has to perform well in Reno and Las Vegas in order to win, or she will lose. If she loses in Las Vegas, she's going to lose the election if she loses in Las Vegas. Now, if we go back to the map, I personally believe, and even if we look back in 2012, Dean Heller, he ran, he won. Jackie Rosen flipped the seat. She beat him by roughly 50,000 votes. I have a feeling she'll do it again. Now, in Ohio, Sherrod Brown, he's doing pretty well. 7-point lead in 2018. 2012, 6-point lead. Just narrowly upping his margins. And in a pretty conservative state, I'm surprised how well Sherrod Brown has performed. But at the same time, I'm not, because of Cleveland, Toledo, Cincinnati, and Columbus. Those big cities, he's getting those votes. And just like in the 2020 election, where Joe Biden really got those suburbs, he didn't win, but he did pretty well, along with the legalization of marijuana in Ohio. That is proving that those Democrat voters are coming out and that they are voting. And that is why I'm convinced Sherrod Brown will win in Ohio in 2024. Now, the last 3 states that likely could determine the presidential election too. In Michigan, Debbie Stabenow was the incumbent. She beat John James, who you might know is now the one of the representatives in Michigan. John James also lost to Gary Peters in 2020, keep in mind. Debbie Stabenow beat him by 7 points. She actually won Macomb County and Kent County, which is what Joe Biden was unable to do in 2020. Now, what does this mean? Let's check out who was running. The most likely is Alyssa Slotkins. She's the representative from Michigan's 7th Congressional District, along with several other people that are running. And now this is just the Democrat primary, declined Jocelyn Benson, Secretary of State, Pete Buttigieg, Debbie Dingell, she's retiring, I believe. Debbie Dingell is a different person. But I do believe the Democrats will do well with Alyssa Slotkins. I believe she will be the presumptive nominee heading to Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Wisconsin already has the Democrat there. I believe it is possible it could flip. Republicans are already at 50. The Democrats need to win in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Well, what do I think? Taking a look at the presidential elections and past senators from Pennsylvania, they're barely going to win. Wisconsin, Democrats barely win. So what does this mean for the Senate? Well, it depends who wins the presidential election. Personally, I believe Joe Biden narrowly wins in 2024, and you can check out my video for that. But this means that the Democrats do have control in the scenario that Joe Biden wins re-election. Unless Donald Trump wins and someone like Tim Scott becomes vice president, Republicans have control of the have control of the Senate, because the vice president is practically the president of the Senate, which means they are the tie-breaking vote.